part 2 of Trump shot. Chosen ones, we are intelligent beings. We think. In my last video, I looked at the Baal vibration. I looked at Baal. What is Baal? Baal is a Canaanite deity. Baal has been around for evermore. Yeah, Baal has been around and is one of the watchers, one of the fallen entities. In 2016, on the 19th of April, the Arch of Triumph, or the Arch of Baal, was erected in Trafalgar Square in London, in the UK. I actually went down to London to actually pray against this because I knew that it was, something good was not happening with this being done in England. And there's me thinking, well, you know what, England's a Christian country. How is England allowing this to happen? But what we have to realise is that each country has its own deity. So in the case of England, England's deity is Albion, and Albion means white. So each country has its own deity, and whether someone says they're a Christian, then that person needs to think, okay, who am I actually serving? Okay, so what I did, when that arch was erected, I made a mental note of the date. And then that was in 2016. In 2017, I got an attack from Satan's church. And I just thought, what on earth is going on? And then, because I'm into Mars and looking at Mars from a different perspective, not just people saying they're going to Mars and landing rover on Mars, but looking at it from a different perspective, looking at its vibrations. So what I did, I started to track my days, and then I inputted my days onto a Mars calendar, and lo and behold, I was in a state of shock because the Gregorian birth date that I was born on was exactly the same time frame or timeline as the Baal arch erection. So on the Mars Earth Day, when Baal was erected, it's the same timeline as my Gregorian birthday. So I thought this was really interesting, but the difference was the sol day for the arch. It was different to mine. So what I do know, my family's been used as a timepiece, and not only my family, but if you're chosen, if you're the elect, your family has as well. We've been used as a time clock or a timepiece. So when things happen in our families, it's not a mere coincidence. So that's why it's important for us to pray. It's important for us to fast. It's important for us to engage in righteous spiritual activities. And it's important for us to stay connected to our power, the Most High. We must stay connected to our power, and we must always pray and act and do what we need to do, not just for ourselves but for our families, because future generations will appreciate everything that we've done. So in the last video, I looked at Trump, him being shot. I didn't put out a video straight away because I actually didn't even want it. I didn't want to even do it because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, here they go again. But anyway, so 946 was on the 13th of July when he got shot. And people are saying, well, that's 946. It's not 1946. But what people are not understanding or realising is that there was a queen right? Her name was Queen Anne Boleyn, and she reigned for 1,000 days. She reigned for 1,000 days. She reigned from 1533 through to 1536. Okay, so she reigned for 3 years. In 1532, on this Gregorian calendar, or whatever you want to call it, she conceived her daughter. Her daughter was called Queen Elizabeth I. So she's conceived in 1532. And why this is important is because if we minus the 1,000 days, what you get is 532. 532. Why is 532 significant? 532 is significant because after we've looked at Trump with his 946 self and being shot on 946, his name is Trump, right? Trump or trumpet means an alert, it means a warning, it means an announcement, something's happening, okay? But when we look at that calendar where he's got 946, what you'll also see is 1531. So for whatever reason, 1531, or if we look at a 24-hour clock, 331 is a significant date for Satan's church. So what we see on the 33rd of the 3rd Gregorian month, it was Easter. So we see the king and we see the other king in the Vatican all coming out, going to their various places of worship, one in the Church of England, the other in the Vatican, or doing Mass. So 331 is quite a significant numerology for these people. Convert it into the 24-hour clock and you get 1531. So this is why on the Mars calendar that I've done for July, I'll put inundation. Also, you'll see on the nose of that dragon, you'll see 576, and that means the destroyer or Apollo. Apollo's sister was Diane. Diana goes by other names such as Artemis, etc., other names. So 1531 is quite a significant numerology, because after 1531, on the following day, it's going to be 947. We know that the State of Israel was birthed in 1947. We know that Trump, his heritage is German. We know that his grandmama is called Elizabeth Christ. You can Google these things. You can research for yourself. You will find out. And then in 15th, and on that same sheet, if you look, you will see 1532. So now we know we can take away the 1,000 and it lands on 532, which is Mars, Phobos, Moon. Hey presto, Mars, Phobos, Moon. And this is linked with the destroyer. Okay, because it's one of Mars's moon. We know Mars's moon names are fear, is dread, etc. And when we go back to the book of Genesis, when Noah comes off the boat, off the ship, off the ark with his 3 sons and his 3 sons' wives, and his wife and all the animals that were on the ark, the Most High said that his sons would be fear and dread to beasts. Yeah, fear and dread to beasts. So what happened? What changed? Why was Yahsarael now running and hiding and being hunted down? And the only reason was because we decided to serve other deities. It's as simple as that. We lost our first love. We served other deities, and our strength, our power is in our deity, in our power. It is our power that reveals mysteries. When we ask, when we seek, and when we're seeking truth, our power will reveal hidden mysteries. So let's go back to part 2. So in 19, we've got 947, Asking Aussie Jews, and we have 216, which is always associated with Mars, and we've got the 1532, which means that there's a conception. So on the 14th of July, there is a conception, and then the 15th of July, we see 1533, which will be for part 3, which is the birth of Queen Elizabeth the First. And when Anne's reign commences, because Catherine has been killed by Henry VIII, and Anne's reign now commences. And this is quite funny because for those of you who follow this channel, I did an audit. I did a couple of audits on the channel, and one of them was looking at our addresses. And then when I did an audit of my grandmama's brother's house, I did an audit because one of my relatives said, "Oh, can we pop in and go and see these people?" And I said, "Okay, no problem." And then I had this shock of my life. I went into the place, right? I went to the place, and outside the house was a BT pole, and it had 1533. What the hell? And guess what? My grandmother married the namesake of 1533. Could not believe it. Couldn't make it up even if I wanted to. So what does that mean? 532 is a womb, right? For us, quote unquote, or for people who are spiritual, the moon signifies the mother, right? The mom, the mother. But because we've got planets or stars, some planets, for example, like Jupiter's got its own moons, Mars has got its own moons, yeah. So sometimes we've got to think, you know what? Why are we following these nations in their worshipping of all these nonsense, right? Why are we following them? So the Germans or the monarchy, I'm not saying German people per se, but their leaders, you know, that have come out of that nation, right? They worship Mars. It is a planet of war, and they worship that planet to the point where they've been using the moons to just slap people down, to kill people. And I can actually talk with confidence and with authority because we had the Feast of Tranquility last week, and one of our relatives who has an Irish surname and who is a person of colour or an Indian or a Hebrew or an Israelite or a Yahsaraelite, right? Seed of Abraham, Isaac and Jacob, right, was killed. And I have to say killed because when I look at the figures, right, the end of June was this person's birthday, the 30th, and on that day we've got some heavy Mars moons collaborations going on her birthday. She was only 42. She had a cough, and now she's dead, and she died on the 10th of July, and it was on a Noah vibration where the birds don't come back, 1124. You know, and it's like, and her birthday fell on 1114. Who the hell is 1114? So I can talk with authority because I've seen too much. We also had someone who got buried on the Feast of Tranquility as well, and his name was Thomas. Right, so guess whose name was Thomas? Queen Anne. Her father's name was Thomas. Right, this geezer that shot Trump, allegedly, his name was, what was his name? Thomas Matthew Crooks. When you look at the name Thomas, it means a twin, okay? You also have Thomas in the Bible, which is doubting Thomas. Thomas is one of the apostles that went to India as well. And we know that Cush is associated with India. You also have Matthew. Matthew is a gift from the Most High, associated with the Levites. And then you've got crooks. For me, automatically, a crook is like, when you kind of like brainstorm crook, you look at the name and you think, okay, it's kind of like someone who's a thief, who's deceptive, who's a robber, who's a trickster, who's got away with words and stuff like that. And also this guy was a shooter. He was on a rooftop, a shooter, which is ironic because this is associated with the Roman Catholic Church. You know, that, like, I think snipers are quite dangerous, aren't they? Because you don't know that they're actually watching you to kill you. And that is like the Church of Satan, watching you to kill you, watching you to see if you're going to make evil covenants, and whether that covenant is to do their feast days, to do these satanic birthday festivals, to do even to go a simple task like you're going to cast a vote. You don't even know what you're doing, really, because when you're casting that vote, you don't know that you're actually making a choice. You are making a choice, but it's not for a choice for bettering your country, because we know politicians, once they get in, that is it. Whatever pledges they've made to the public literally goes out the window, because they now have to operate under the unction of a hidden hand, if you like, or a hidden government. So 1532 is conception. 1532 or 532, the Mars moon, is a fake matrix. It's fakes, and it's an alert, right? An alert. So once we've had that conception, right, then you have the birth, which was 1533, which is, I think I said it was the 15th, right? After 1533, what comes next? I think this is the 16th now. 1534. What is 1534? So if you do a little history check, this is when the Church of England was established by King Henry. And it's established when he's married to Anne, Queen Elizabeth's mother. Okay? So the next 13 days, we see other events. We see in 1547, we see King Henry is dead. He dies. Yeah? So he's dead. And then his son, Edward means a witness, okay? He reigns. And then after Edward dies, I think someone else reigns, and then you've got Queen Elizabeth, who then does her reign. So everything has a meaning. Significant events are happening all the time. It's just that sometimes you have all these big events and then it's like a distraction. So you just really have to focus on yourself. Focus on being the best person you possibly can. And focus on making sure you're an example to your family, your children. And because the next generations are going to depend upon what our families can remember about us. Because when they wake up, they'll think, oh, my mum didn't do birthdays. Oh, my mum didn't do Christmas. Oh, my mum didn't do Valentine's. Oh, or Easter, or all of these festivities that are constantly pushed down our children's and our throats from the time we're born. So numbers have meanings. Numbers tell a story. And the best way of knowing yourself is to count your days, because it's going to unlock the hidden root of your pain. If I didn't count my days, the 13th of June would have been insignificant to me. I had a major operation on the 13th of June, 2009. And now I know why. Because it's the start of Babylon. Babylon, am I your sacrifice? I really don't think so. So just continue to do your spiritual work. Continue to live a righteous life. Continue to trust your power, that you are on the right path, his path, her path, our power's path, our ancient path, right? And do what you need to do to make your life count in these wicked days. Shalom.